Hi, good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Wolf Dens. How may I help? Hey, hold on. You're shivering all over. There, come inside. There's plenty of warmth in here. That's better, isn't it? Good. At least now you know not to catch your death. Although it appears that the cold may still be affecting you. Here, let me take your hand. I can lead you to the seat next to me near the fire. There. Are you comfortable? Good, I'm delighted to hear that. Thank you for the thoughtful words. While I consider myself to be a hospitable innkeeper, I do not allow just anyone through that door. You, however, seem like you needed a place for refuge. It would have been cruel of me if I had insisted that you remain outdoors with only the frost to keep you company. Look, I appreciate the gratitude, but it's truly no bother. Oh, goodness, where are my manners? In all my haste, I did not formally introduce myself, nor did I finish greeting you. For my discourageous actions, I offer my sincerest apologies. No apologies necessary, you say. Why, thank you. Since we now have the time to have a proper conversation, shall we begin our exchange once more? Splendid. I am Cassian. It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance. What shall I call you, dear traveler? What an enchanting name you have. The softness of its sound is pleasing to the ears, like a gentle song played on a lute. Your name, it also feels remarkable on the tongue, like the sweetest drops of honey. I would love nothing more than to have it fall from my lips again and again. You truly are a sight to behold. Your eyes have widened considerably, and your cheeks have flushed too with a lovely shade of rose. Oh, how I long to brush the tips of my fingers over your skin to watch the color bloom even more. Are you alright? I'm inquiring because it appears that as though you've been affected by something. Your inhalations have suddenly quickened. Your body's beginning to tremble again. Do you require assistance from a physician? We have one in the village, and I'm certain he would pay you a visit if needed. You were startled by my forwardness. And that's why you reacted so viscerally. Please forgive me. At times I can get a bit carried away. The people around have grown accustomed to my amorous ways, but guests and travelers tend to be more appalled. Believe me, I have tried to rein in my behavior, and my attempts have been valiant. I promise you, though, I have been told that even when I am cordial, I am still quite passionate. Hey, what can I say? I thoroughly enjoy toying with the affections of others. As long as no one is harmed in the process, there is a reason why I've been branded as the village philander. It's a title that I wear with pride. rather than with shame. Yes, if you must know, I have seduced a fair number of people into my bedchamber. You look utterly scandalized. Based on your sharp glare, you must think the worst of me. Well, I am enjoying the carnal pleasures more than the average fellow. I can assure you that I treat every partner with the utmost respect and care. Their needs come first, as always. If they feel any hesitancy or discomfort, then we cease all actions. It's as simple as that. Yes, I am being truthful. I swear it on my soul. The edges of your lips have turned upwards into a smile. Despite your efforts not to, you find me charming, don't you? Oh, but you do. Not only has your smile spread into a grin, but your eyes are now shining with mirth. Do not fret, I will not hold it against you. Even the most apathetic of individuals succumb to my charms, eventually. In all seriousness, have I made you uncomfortable? Please be truthful. No? Are you certain? Okay. That's a relief. Look, as I said, your comfort is my priority. No matter how desirable I find you, I will refrain from engaging in any ardent actions unless you grant me permission. Of course. There's no need to thank me. That was a rather huge yawn. Seems that you may be ready to retire for the evening, though. Given the late hour and the bleak outdoor conditions, may I assume that you will be lodging here tonight? Not to worry, I have plenty of vacancies. Very few people visit Mystic Haven during this time of the year, so it's dreadfully quiet around here. Oh, you're wondering about the cost. Normally, one room with all its amenities would be 5 shillings. However, due to the low number of guests, the urgency of your current predicament, I will only ask of 2. No, I insist. The amount I mentioned will be just fine. You are most welcome. Now, that we have settled this transaction, may I escort you to your room? No. Why or not? Look, you may roll your eyes and scoff at me, but my question was not unreasonable. It's not as though I doubt your ability to make a sound decision, it's simply that I'm concerned for your well-being. You must be exhausted, so a peaceful night of rest would be likely helpful. Very well. If you would prefer to stay in this area by the fire, I will not stop you. In fact, I would be more than happy to share the space with you and continue our conversation. Do you find these terms acceptable? Lovely. Since we will be remaining in one another's company for a little while longer, may I offer you a drink? Oh. The eager expression on your face isn't answer enough. I will gladly prepare a beverage for you. The best I can do is a cup of tea. I'm afraid I would offer something stronger, such as cider or mead, but sadly I have nothing of that sort in here. The tavern next door, the Drunken Goose, does. It's open for another hour, but I have it on good authority with that owner, and they don't seem to enjoy seeing guests this late at night. She can be rather surly. Yes, I know her well. Too well, actually. No, it's not what you're thinking. She and I are not associated in that manner. The honor is my younger sister, and I know better than most that she can be a handful at times, at any time of the day. However, when it's near closing time, that is when she's her most irritable. I do not fault for it, though. Though there are often hordes of fools who wander in trying to woo her into providing beverages and meals without payment, but her callous nature will not accept any of that. So she sends them on their way with vicious curses and swift kicks in the rear. Yes, I do speak of her as though I am fond. She's a menace, certainly, but I would rather she be that than a timid, cowering damsel. At least I know she can handle herself. Lord, save the fool who thinks that they can take advantage of her. Oh. Her name? It's Griselda. I agreed, it is an unusual one. Her name means fighting maiden, or dark battle. Which suits her perfectly, if you ask me. Our parents initially considered calling her something delicate, but the moment she arrived into this world, she was already so fierce and combative. Indeed, Griselda loved a good, ferocious fight. Not too long ago, she and I were locked into the heat of battle. She's the reason why I no longer have ale, cider, or mead, or even wine at the inn. Apparently, I was intruding on her territory by inviting too many of her guests over. It was not exactly my fault that everyone preferred my company to hers, but she did not see it that way. As punishment, she banned me from serving anything other than tea. Now, why would I allow her to do such things? If you meet her, you'll understand why. She's a force to be reckoned with. No one dares disobey her. For fear she made have their head on the next platter that's served at the tavern. I do wish I were gesturing, but I am not. She will not shy away from a physical altercation if there's needed. Look, do you see the scar on my forearm? She was the cause of that. An accident, she claimed, but I knew better. One evening we were both in the tavern's kitchen, preparing a hearty rabbit stew for the guests. My first mistake was sitting next to her while she butchered the rabbit. My second mistake was opening my mouth to boast about how my latest bedmate, who happened to be one of her dearest friends, Griselda, was so irate that she accidentally allowed the knife to slip from her hands, which sliced right through my skin. Oh, come on now. It's all in the past, so there's no need to make a fuss. Truthfully, as I speak of this in the present, I find it humorous. At the time, however, I could only curse before fainting at the sight of it. The physician rushed over to heal me, but by the next morning I felt perfectly fine. Look, I appreciated that you were upset on my behalf, but I assure you, there was no serious harm done. Griselda and I have forgiven one another. We agreed that I should never boast about something of that nature while she has a weapon in her hands. Yes, she is quite the character. But while we are on the subject of my sister in the tavern, I'm reminded that you are in need of a beverage. Please excuse me for one moment. Here you are. One steaming cup of tea. I hope you find this to your liking. That is correct. You were not alone drinking tonight. I prepared myself a cup as well. Here is to us. May I ask, what are your thoughts of regarding the tea? Oh, it's perfection, you say. I'm flattered. However, I cannot take all the credit, though. Even though I brewed it, my younger brother cultivated the herbs and spices for this particular blend. Yes, I also have a brother. Florian. He's the youngest of the three of us. But he is the most knowledgeable given his profession. His intellect is... it is inquintensive to have proven it to be beneficial. No, he is not the physician, though he's often assisted the man. Florian is actually the village's apothecarist, and his services are highly sought after. I cannot even begin to count the number of individuals who have eagerly left his shop with a wrapped package in their hands. Due to his refined skills and extreme caring nature, he receives endless demands for his remedies. In fact, he frequently sees guests during the crack of dawn or the during of the dead of night. I suppose it's fortunate that his living quarters are above the apothecary. Yes, I am quite fond of Florian as well. And I will happily pass on your accomplishments to him. I'm certain he'll be pleased with what to hear, that you're enjoying his tea blend. When I returned from preparing your tea, I noticed that you were examining the walls, the furniture, and the mantelpiece. Were you admiring the decor? I thought as much. What are your thoughts? Oh. No, that makes my heart sore to hear that you... I like it. And hear you say everything feels serene and inviting. Why do I find your words so meaningful? Well, this is my family's inn. It was established long ago by my great-parents, and it has been passed from generation to generation, while the inn always maintained a welcoming air. My parents made it even more so. They placed most of it, and most of their attention and love here. Griselda and Florian and I spent our youth within these walls, so we know every square meter of this place. You would like to know why the inn is not my responsibility, though, rather than my parents'. I must warn you, it is a long and woeful tale. Would you still like to hear it? Very well. Several years ago, when I was in my late adolescence, my mother and father had become gravely ill. And since Florian has always shown a keen interest in plants and herbs, he was asked to work alongside the physician to find a cure. They did everything they could, but there was no saving my mother and father. Their deaths were greatly tragedized for both of us and the village. Their children, while Griselda and Florian mourned, I had to remain strong. From that day onward, I vowed I would take control of the inn, which was and still the pride and joy of the family. You may call it a noble action, but it truly wasn't. I did what was necessary. We all did. Without parents to support us, we each had to take on a new role. I ran the inn, of course, while Griselda began working as a cook at the tavern's kitchen. Eventually, she'd upserved both the head cook and the barmaid. Now she does everything there. At the time, Florian started a apprenticeship with the village's apothecarist. Unfortunately, his mentor was elderly, and a few months after the apprenticeship began, without someone to teach him, Florian was at a loss of what to do. Thankfully, Griselda and I earned enough to send him across the land to work under the most accomplished and experienced apothecarist. 3 years later, he returned with much more knowledge and the confidence. With his own hands, he built and opened Elysium, which is the current apothecary. But that about covers it all. Now you know far more than about my family than you likely wanted to. Goodness, I must have gone on for some time. Why didn't you not interrupt me? You were genuinely interested in the story, and were eager to learn every detail. I did not expect that response, but I appreciate it nonetheless. You are a clever one, yes. Wolf is the family name, hence the Wolf's Den. It's a bit on the nose, I agree. We have discussed that, my family and myself, at length. It's now your turn to take over the conversation. May I ask, what brings you to Mystic Haven? Are you simply passing through on your way to a larger town? And you had been traveling across deserted territory for a long while now. Okay. Mystic Haven have to be the nearest civilization, so you decided to seek shelter here for the night, I'm guessing. Okay. I understand your logic. The village is secluded, but no neighboring towns. If you had chosen to continue, you would have gone for another day or two before finding anything remotely suitable. I did sense a peculiarity when you arrived, though. However, you did not appear to have a horse with you, which seemed unusual to me. Have you been traveling by foot all this time? Ah, you had a horse at the start of your journey, but a thief recently stole it. Rotten luck. Look, no wonder you looked so weary when I first saw you. Any distance on foot would be troublesome, particularly this season. How long have you been traveling? 2 months? Whatever for? You have been searching for a place to settle, but nothing has appealed to you. May I ask, what caused you to suddenly leave your home? You must be gesturing. Surely you would not have been banished for that. That's awful. You didn't deserve to be banished simply because you were tailoring shops suffered a financial crisis. That was hardly your fault. And to think otherwise would be foolish. I truly am sorry for all that you've endured. Of course I'm concerned on your behalf. You are by far the loveliest and kindest person I've met in ages. Despite knowing you for such a brief amount of time, I've grown to care about you. You care about me as well. It humbles me to hear you say that. Yes, I'm alright. My apologies for drifting off. I was just pondering a question to ask you. I wanted to know if Mystic Haven could be a place you could call your home. I'm aware that you were only familiar with the village in the dark, but become morning, you should view in the daylight. With fresh eyes, if you like what you see, Would you consider staying? You'd like to know why? Well, beyond my fondness for you, I believe that Mr. Caven could provide everything you may want or need. The village is small, but it has a distinguished shops and areas to explore. More importantly, the community is welcoming and friendly. You could even reestablish your businesses if you had the desire. I can already see how talented you are, given what you're wearing. Yes, I mean, your cloak. I've been staring at it all evening. You created it with your own hands, did you not? I thought as much. Like, as soon as you mentioned that you owned a tailoring shop, that is when I knew that not only your cloak is beautiful with its crimson hue and velvety texture, but it appears sturdy enough to withstand the harshest of conditions. It's far better design than anything I had ever witnessed. Like, I have no doubt that someday your creations will be in high demand. Yes, I am being truthful. The villagers would cherish your talent, but above all, they would adore your wit and compassion. I mean every word from the deepest parts of my soul. I truly believe that you could find happiness here. You will consider it. Are you absolutely certain? That is wonderful news. I am incredibly pleased to hear you say that. Since you are now willing to see more of Mr. Caven, I was hoping that I could escort you around tomorrow. Show you the very best that the village has to offer. Well, it is true that I must attend to the other guests in the morning. I'll be available as soon as that is finished, and it would be a great honor to accompany you, if you allow me. Thank you. We will have a long day ahead, so it is vital that we rest in the meantime. I know that I share your sentiments. I have been enjoying our conversation, but it does have to end, at least for the time being. Your yawns have increased significantly, which indicates that you are in a desperate need of sleep. Are you finally ready to retire? You just released another yawn. And that answers my question then. You may leave the teacup on the table there, and afterward I will lead you to your room. Please, take my hand, so that I may guide you along these halls that are dimly lit. I would rather you not stumble and fall. Thank you. Oh, your hands feel lovely in mine. A perfect fit, really. Oh, nothing. I was merely muttering to myself about an unimportant matter. Are you alright? My grip on your hand isn't too firm, is it? Good. Please tell me if it ever feels too firm. I will amend it at once. Right this way, then. You are very welcome. Your room is just beyond this door. If you need assistance with anything, please do not hesitate to find me. I will be across the hall from you. Before we part, I would like to say one final thing. It has been a pleasure speaking with you this evening. Thank you, truly, for allowing me to be in your company. I may have charmed you to some degree, but you have enchanted me entirely. I am being truthful. I am always being truthful to you. Yet you have not released my hand yet. You are correct. and I haven't released yours either. May I try something? I promise it'll be brief, that no harm will befall you. You have my word. Yes, I am raising your hand to my lips. Is this all right? Good. I hope you can think of me while you sleep good night, dear traveler. I will see you in the morning.